Wind Space Arow. Whoops, I meant to say Tavelo Arow. The Arow by Tavelo is the official race bike for YouTube influencers and domestic crit racers. Thankfully, I am both of these, but you have to guess which one I'm terrible at. Both of them. Tavelo had one goal in mind: create a capable race bike by actual racers or ex-Wind Space employees. I don't really know, honestly. But if the Wind Space T1500 was like a specialized Venge, then the Tavelo Arow would be the Tarmac SL7 and SL8. The Arow is stiff, it's fast, and relatively decent weight at 1,016 grams for my frame and a size 540, which equates to a long size 56. Now, I've had my Tavelo Arow for almost an entire year now and have put over 5,000 kilometers on it. So it's time to give my final thoughts on this bike so we can finally move on to new projects. Of course, this does not mean I'm getting rid of my Tavelo. It's a wonderful bike, but we've said everything we need to say about this bike now that we are in 2025. So starting with the sizing. So for reference, I'm 6 feet tall or 183 centimeters tall. Super long wingspan, like Scottie Pippen long wingspan. My saddle height is around 78 centimeters center to center and a saddle setback of around 9 centimeters. And I use 170 millimeter length cranks. As mentioned above, I went with the size equivalent of a size 56, which in Tavelo units is 540. The Tavelo supplied AVRO integrated cockpit is my absolute favorite integrated cockpit due to both its ergonomics and stiffness. In fact, some of the top crit racers here in America are running the same exact cockpits on their Tarmac SL8. I know this because they actually contacted your boy on advice on what handlebars they should use with their Tarmac SL8. I am a knowledgeable black man after all. The handlebar spec I chose has a 130 millimeter length stem with a 36 centimeter width bar, and I'm running 15 millimeters of spacers. Let's talk about bike fit for a second, because some of you keyboard bike fitters seem to have a problem with my bike fit, saying either I'm too stretched out or the front end is too low. But you know who never has a problem with my bike fit ever? Actual bike racers. Do you guys not race your bikes at all, or do you just have the flexibility of Snuffleupagus? My bike fit is not set up for comfort, although I have done multiple 5-hour rides on this bike, including indoors on Zwift with zero problems with comfort. And the front end is set up as such that I can remain in the drops for an entire 30 to 35 minute crit race. So do what works for you, but just remember that this topic of bike fit never ever comes up from people who actually ride their bikes. The faster the speeds, the higher the watts, the more comfortable the bike becomes, which is the entire point. Moving on to the other specs. Now, I don't want to spend too much time here, but Shimano Ultegra Di2 12-speed works flawlessly. Magine spider-based power meter, also flawless. Sella Italia SLR boost saddle in the S3 width, my favorite saddle of all time. Ceramic bottom bracket and oversized pulley wheel from Novaride, works great. Now for the wheels, I've used a variety of different wheels, and currently I have set up on this bike is the Nepes Nova 55 wheels that come in at around 1,300 grams. And then because of the wheels, the Dura-Ace cassette, upgraded carbon crank arms that saves over 200 grams, TPU inner tubes, a fully loaded bike comes in at exactly 7 kilograms, or around 6.7 kilograms if you were to weigh this bike out the industry standard way, which is pretty impressive. And UCI illegal. So how has my Tavelo Arow been after a year of riding and 5,000 kilometers? It's been flawless, to be honest. No creaks, no rattles, no failures, no seat post slips, no issues with the headset, no undersized bottom bracket, nothing. Overall, the fit and finish is on par with Specialized and other Western brands, including the fantastic quality in the paint job. Moving right along, let's talk about riding dynamics. So first off, I've already sold both my Tarmac SL8 Pro and my Giant Propel Advance Pro. Both are fantastic bikes for different reasons. Thankfully, the Tavelo Arow slots in perfectly between both of these bikes. Make no mistake at all, guys, this is a pure race bike. The The front end is stiff, which provides a lot of feedback from the road, but is a bit more comfortable than a giant Propel. The Tarmac SL8, on the other hand, overall is a better climber and better in the crosswinds, but I do find the SL8 to lack the needed stiffness in the bottom bracket area compared to the Tavelo Arow. On the flat and punchy roads and climbs, the Arow feels perfect, guys. Now, in the various crit races I've done this season, the Arow has worked flawlessly. It felt right at home in the peloton. You stomp on the pedals and the frame gives an immediate response. Cornering is very predictable, although as a Cat 5 racer, I'm probably the last person to ever be talking about cornering ability. But lap after lap, regardless of speed or position, I knew exactly what the bike was doing and where the bike was headed up the road. This is all you really want in a fast bike, in my opinion. Of course, we can talk about wind tunnels and marginal savings and gains, but the reality is nowadays, nobody is going to get dropped from a race due to being underbiked. The bike just needs to be stiff, well planted, and predictable in the corners. All things that the Tavelo Arow does very, very well. So, who is this bike for? This bike is for competitive athletes and enthusiasts. Now, the overall geometry is fairly aggressive, and the slacker 73-degree C-tube angle means that smaller and more upright riders might struggle with bike fit. You might have to slam the saddle forward, but it is a race bike overall, guys. It's not an endurance bike. Now, as far as price goes, $2,000 USD for the frame set isn't exactly cheap for a Chinese frame, and the resale value is probably abysmal, like all Chinese brands. But if you plan to keep this bike for a long time and you do a lot of fast bike riding, you really won't be missing anything riding this bike compared to the more expensive Western brands. Oh, and I forgot to mention that this bike fits 34mm tires when measured at the rim. So overall, guys, I really highly recommend this frame set. And if you are in the United States, be sure to contact George from Skya Sports to order your Tavelo Arow frame set. I'm very satisfied with this bike, guys. I'm really happy with how it's turned out and how well it's performing this last year. I have not felt like I've been missing anything from this bike compared to other brands on the market today. It does everything I needed to do very well, and the overall fit, the geometry, and the stiffness just works very well for me. Questions, comments, and concerns, please feel free to leave them down below, and I'm gonna check you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.